Hello, and welcome to the third and final live event for SC4x Supply Chain Technology and Systems. My name is Dave Carell. I'm your course lead, and I'm very excited to have with me Dr. Eva Ponce, Executive Director of the MicroMasters program.
Hi, Dave. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the third live event for SC4x. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Eva, and thank you to all the learners who we know are already tuning in and answering questions. Thank you so much. I'm going to jump right into the agenda so you know what we're planning to talk about today. So we're going to wrap up the course, and we're also going to wrap up the Fresh Connection, which is the game we played during our course, and then we're going to wrap up the whole MicroMasters, because as many of you know, this is the last course before the CFX exam. To that end, we're also going to talk about the upcoming CFX exam, because that's the next stop for many of you. Please interact with us. So you probably have this code, but if you don't, please follow along. You can go to the website there, Slido, and you can use the event code SC4x-3. And when you're there, you can vote on the polls that we've made, and you can also input your own questions. This is a great time to ask Eva questions about the future, what will happen to you next in the MicroMasters. There's a lot of great opportunities for our MicroMasters learners, and this is a good chance to talk with Eva about them. Okay, I want to go to our slides now, or to our first poll, and see what you think. So we asked, which topic interested you most in SC4X? So votes are coming in. If you haven't voted yet, why don't you please take a vote? We have database management, machine learning, ERP systems, transportation management and warehouse management systems, supply chain visibility, and new trends and technologies. So it looks like the votes are coming in, but if you haven't voted, please take a chance to do that. And I'm going to go over one more slide quick, and then we'll come back and look at those results. So the course, as you know, if you made it this far, is really broken into two blocks. In the first part, we talked about data, large sets of data, and how we manage that kind of data. We started with data modeling. That's where you built your entity relationship diagrams. We used the visual paradigm software to see how different tables related to one another. And then we did what I think for many learners is sort of frustrating, but it's important work, the normalization work, understanding what are best practices for setting up those tables. Then we went into machine learning. We learned how to work with that data. And then after that, after the midterm, we looked at all the different software systems that are actually used in practice to manage supply chains and to execute the type of things that we've been talking about over all these courses together. So let me take a look here and see what you all thought was the most interesting. And Eva, it looks like 50% said machine learning.
Yeah, this is a hot topic definitely today. So yeah, machine learning is one of the most relevant topics for you guys. Yeah, what else? What about new trends and technologies? Is the less vote. Yeah, it's ERP system. So machine learning, then ERP system, and transportation management and warehouse system are new trends.
17%.
17%. Yeah. Yeah, the interesting thing with the new trends is like, let's say every single 6 months, 1 year are changing.
Yeah.
That's the question. But yeah, I agree that is something relevant, especially at the end of a supply chain management program, like the MicroMaster. It's good to at least be familiar with these new trends, and more specifically than the new trends, the impact of these new trends in the supply chain. That is our main focus. And regarding machine learning, I need to tell you guys that we have recently, last week, a brainstorming work session with the team, the whole team, plus the whole researchers at CTL. We met once every single 6 months, just to try to improve the MicroMaster, to reimagine the MicroMaster, to see how we can do it better. And one of the things we were discussing is to expand machine learning topics. So this is something that definitely we have in mind.
Yeah.
Great.
I have to say, guys, no one voted for database management.
But it's something necessary. You know, there are these things, but this is always good. We need things that we need to learn, things that are very fun, and we are happy to do, and other things that we need. And once we learn and we are applying our job, we are very happy that we learned.
Yes.
So there are things that maybe you need to apply and more in order to say, hey, that was useful.
Absolutely. And just to follow up on what Ava said, we're thinking about the course all the time, and we really value your input. So, we have some time together left. Send me an email, send SC4X Help an email, or share something with us in the discussion forum, what you think is good about our class and where you think there's some improvements, because we're always trying to make it better and better and better.
Yeah, those topics that you want to learn more than you had the opportunity through our course, or those topics that you consider might not be relevant for us to deliver. We are always reviewing and revisiting this kind of feedback. Yes, please feel free to reach to us and share with us this feedback.
Absolutely.
Great. So let's move.
So one of my favorite topics, although it didn't get a lot of votes, was the data management topic. And what we really did there, just by way of a review, we started really where I think a lot of our learners were at the moment they started the course, which is with spreadsheets or with unstructured storage of data. And then we started to talk about how many companies are coming into sets of data that are just bigger than spreadsheets can handle effectively. And they started to have questions that they wanted answered from their data that weren't readily answered by things like pivot tables or just searches. And what's been fun to work on with this course is so many companies are facing that. When we talk with companies here on campus and we're out and about, people say, yeah, we're trying to get our staff to move into SQL and into understanding big data, and we have a course to do it. And another thing that I think is kind of fun that I see here within our own team is, you have the team doing a lot of SQL queries to answer questions about the learners too.
Mm-hmm.
Some things we can do in Excel, but some of the important questions that Ava needs answered, we need to go to a larger database.
Definitely. And this is one of the things and the skills that we are developing in the team, because it's the way to, and we are also making decisions based on this data. So I think we are now a lot of, or more data-driven decision makers than before. Yeah.
Absolutely. So then we came into what was clearly the most popular topic amongst the learners, into the machine learning. And we talked about some algorithms, and I just want to review at a high level here, so you're thinking about your final exam, of course. We talked about principal components analysis, k-means clustering. We talked about both in lecture and in application, in the field trip and in the field trip follow-up exercise. We talked a little bit about k-nearest neighbors, basically just how it works, and random forest algorithms, again, basically how they work. Then we went into measures to say, okay, we can apply these algorithms, but how do we know if they're any good, or how do we compare one versus another? So we talked, it's brief, so just understand it at a conceptual level, but the ROC curve, we talked about sensitivity and specificity. We talked a lot about something that I think we can really grasp at our level, just meeting things for the first time, the notion of underfit and overfit in our models. When we train them on data sets, how might they perform in the real world? So a basic understanding of these concepts, I think, would serve you well for the final. And then we talked a lot about the how and the why. When are we looking to do an unsupervised approach? When are we looking to do something supervised? When do we need to predict, and when do we need to find correlations? And so really, as you're reviewing, think about these topics and make sure that you understand what the tool is for and why we might use it.
And I want to add here that these are algorithms and techniques that we are using for our research projects. For instance, I did a urban logistic project, and we use a PCA, a principal component analysis, to reduce the number of variables that we have. This was a project that we wanted to identify critical logistics areas in big cities, mega cities, big cities, these cities with high density population. So what we did is we identified all the relevant logistic variables. We used PCA in order to reduce the number of relevant variables, and then we apply a k-means clustering analysis. With this k-means clustering analysis, what we obtain, or what we got, is the different clusters in these high density population cities. We identified identify the downtown cluster. We identify the business cluster, the residential area. So we identify different clusters in big cities, and this helps us in a second step to define specific policies for each of these clusters in terms of freight deliveries. So it was very helpful in order to, and I think for policymakers is something that definitely helps in order to know the difference in between these different clusters in terms of how relevant the logistic is, and more specifically in our project was for the last mile delivery project. So it was very useful to do that and helpful also for policymakers.
Wow, that's really interesting. You know, thinking about when we talk about the PCA videos, you'll probably be reviewing those before the final. Think about that project that Ava just told you about, and think about how what Dr. Casa told you about how PCA works was applied in that experience. Mm-hmm. That sounds like a field trip waiting to happen.
We really need to, yeah, this can be our next one.
Yeah, let's go.
Excellent. Good.
So then we went into software and systems. So we talked a lot about data analysis, but we also needed to talk about where does that data come from? And so one of the places the relevant supply chain data can come from is from the systems that companies use to manage their supply chains. So we talked about enterprise resource planning systems. We had some sort of basic level lectures. Why would a company even bother doing it? You all had some great discussion forums about, can small companies use ERP systems and when and why? So congratulations on that. That was a very thoughtful discussion. We talked about sort of the core functions of ERP systems, how data is shared between ERP systems, and the effect of that on the bullwhip effect, which you've heard about in your other courses. We also talked about how those systems can be implemented, and, you know, coming after some of the technical data science-y stuff, I could see how maybe you wouldn't give a lot of attention to this, but I would encourage you to think about it, because it is really quite interesting to think about the architecture of the software systems that we talk about. Are they platforms as a service? Is it software as a service? Because I think that world is really changing as we speak, and it's great to take this educational opportunity to learn about it. And then we talked about tracking, tracing, and technology. We had that great case study where we learned about tracking and tracing. And then what Ava talked about at the beginning, the new technologies, we got to spend some time with a lot of experts from all over and hear what they think about some of the latest tech. Mm-hmm. So I'd like you to take a second now and answer in one word, what surprised you most in SC4X? I see a few votes coming in. Please take a second now to just put in one word, what you think, and we'll be very interested to see what comes up. So thinking about preparing for the exams, I know that's on everyone's mind. Revisiting practice problems, GAs, looking at what kind of questions do we ask there. They'll be very similar to your final. What is the expectation of understanding there? Very similar to your final. You can review your key concepts document. That's a great way to get a sense of what's really important. What are the things that the team thinks are main points of this course? And I would really emphasize understanding over execution. Sometimes I know it's very fun to get into the software. I see some comments here about Orange. Orange is really fun. It's very fun to get in there and play with those tools. But don't forget to take a little time to put your feet up too and think about, well, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? What is the purpose of this tool? Mm-hmm. I think that level of understanding will really help you. And then I put here, pack your toolbox. You can now do SQL queries. That's a valuable thing to any employer that you might look to work with or business you might want to start. You can now do data analysis for anyone using the software that you've learned in this class. So there's a lot of things that you can do now that perhaps you couldn't do before, and congratulations on that, and be aware of that. You have a new skill. Mm-hmm. But before we go to the survey, I just wanted to highlight this quote from the field trip. You might remember our friend Cress from AB InBev. And he said here, just to analyze 16 million rows of data, then to process it, I want to analyze it. It's a whole new skill set, and I think what's exciting for the people taking this course is that it's a skill set in need. So I think you all are learning something that is really valuable in today's world, and congratulations to you for getting it done.
Yeah, I'm following what Dave said. when you are preparing your exam, not only you need to learn the technique by itself, but also think about when does make sense to apply this technique for which kind of problem. So you know that we have a very applied-oriented approach. So all of the pros and cons of doing this technique, when that makes sense to apply. This kind of thinking is the thing we want you to develop through these courses, to learn the technique and to learn when does it make sense to apply this technique and the pros and cons of using one or the other. So in this sense, we are providing you this toolbox that Dave is mentioning. And then for different problems that you need to deal with, you will be prepared to choose one or other tool or technique.
Absolutely, and that's such a fun skill to see. Ava mentioned the research that we do here in CTL to, when those meetings are happening and you hear people executing research, oftentimes the conversation is about exactly what Ava described. What is the right tool for this question? It's not so much about what is the most efficient way to code this. That might come later.
Yeah.
But a lot is about what is the tool that gets us to this answer best, and keep that in mind when you're thinking about your tools. It's not just execution, it's understanding.
Yes, yeah, totally agree. And then execution and with you, which is the most efficient way to implement that, which is the most efficient way to have a code to automatize that, definitely.
So let's just look at what surprised you. I think this all makes sense. So a few people were surprised by Orange software. It's a great freely available software tool that even people here on campus don't all know about. And so we're glad to be able to share it with you.
And it's an open source software, as all of the software we are providing through the platform, which is good.
The inclusion of SQL, it can be hard. It really can. But I'm proud of the fact that we get to help you learn it, because it is such a skill these days. Looked like you like the machine learning field visit. I was so glad that you did. The trends in the interviews, some of those interviews, like the one you had, I think, with GE, it's just so neat to get to spend an hour, watching that interview, or with Adidas, with these people who are doing great things, and just see what they think about topics. And then
definitely. And the idea of this, bringing this expert, was just to bring this reality from the industry to this course. So you can see that the things we are teaching in this course, the leaders in the industry, they are applying, and how they are dealing with these challenges, because they are facing these challenges currently. And it's, for us, I think, a privilege to have these experts sharing their experience with us in these certain topics. I remember the GE interview about the implementation of the new technology and how they were dealing with that, all of the challenges, which is really, really insightful for us. Yeah.
And as a learner, the course leads, it's fun for me to learn with you guys, watching those interviews, because you think about, from a learner's perspective, you read your books and you do your homeworks, and so few of us would ever have access to an hour with a high-level data science executive to talk about those things. And that those get to be part of the course is really fun for anyone who loves these topics.
Yeah, during January, there is a period here that we invite a lot of experts from industry to come on campus, because we have around 200 students from all over the world for all of our different programs that we are teaching here at CTL. Every single time that an expert comes here, we always have a plan to interview this expert for the SCX courses. So be tuned, because stay tuned, because more industry experts will be coming for all of the SCX courses. Awesome. Great. What else? Interviews, trends. I think we are almost, and the field visit. The field visit is another thing that we are always thinking about, how we can add a new field trip, like the one that Dave ran, with the same purpose, just to bring this reality and this experience from the industry to our SCX courses.
Great. I think maybe we'll hand it over to Ava to talk about the Fresh Connection.
Excellent. So let's go to the Fresh Connection. This is one of the things we are offering in SC4x. I need to mention here that in 2017, we have one of the teams that went through the global final competition, and they won. This was amazing, because it was the very first time that these 4 people met for the very first time in Lisbon. They were playing together as a team. Before that, they were individually playing through the SC4x course. Then they met, they play as a team, and they did a great job, and they won. So this was something that Carlos, Ivan, Andrea, and Aaron, they did in 2017. And last year, we have also another team from 2018, Emin, Adelatif, Koffer, and Lance, that also went to the final competition. So that's always for us, we're very proud of that, always. So this run of the Fresh Connection, so a total of 335 participants, 207 has been active players. This means that you made at least one decision through the game, some decision that change the profit of the company. 65% of these students are verified students and 35% audit students. The average score was minus 3.17%, close to the starting point, a bit better, which is good, but the median score was minus 0.74%. Let's have a deeper look into the results. So most of the participants, more than 50% of the participants, really improve the game. You at this point, those who has been playing the Fresh Connection, you played at least or in between 1 and 4 rounds. Most of you 4 rounds. That means that you were making different decisions, and this decision, as you know now, has an impact in the profit of the company. So you made decisions related to purchasing, decisions relating to the customer relationship, decisions more related to the safety stock that you have in the warehouse, or decisions more related to the operations of the supply chain. So with each of these decisions, what's happening is that this has an impact on the profit of the company. So all of you started with the minus 3.96% of profit. And as you can see in this histogram, you can see that most of our students are above this starting point. This means that with the decisions you make, you improve. Which are the specific numbers? So almost 70%, 143 participants score more than the starting point. 106, 51% score above minus 1%, which is a good improvement, because it's not easy to make the right decisions in order to improve the profit. And almost 40% of the participants, 75 people, score above 1%, which is a really good result. I want also to announce the winners, and the winners are these people that I did 2 buckets of winners. Those that the top 3 scores for round number 4. So with Jas Karavat got at 8.7% of the profit of the company, which is a very good result. I can tell you that we have been playing the game here on campus for at least 6-7 years. It's really hard to see this high profit in the company playing this game.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Josh. Yes. Congratulations, Jas. Congratulations also to Igor. He got a 7.7% of the profit of the company. And congratulations also to Yerham. 7%. All of them very good results. Yeah, it seems that you spend a quite amount of time playing the game and see and understanding the impact of your decisions on the profit of the company. I also look into the top 3 scores across the 4 rounds. So we have, these are the learners that play the 4 rounds and on average score the best scores on these 4 rounds. Gamal, he got the 5.4% on average in the 4 rounds. Igor, the 2nd place, so you are very consistent, Igor. And Mary, 5% in the 4 rounds. And I really want to bring these 2 because at the end, the main purpose of this game, this is a learning tool. That means that what we want you to do is just to make decisions in the supply chain and see the interactions in between the different decisions you are making and the impact of these decisions in the profit of the company. So and we want you to take risk, and we want you to test and to try different actions and see the effect. So I also want to bring the average on the 4 rounds, and I also want to bring here that it's great when your score is very high and you have the impact of your decisions in the profit of the company is really high. But more than that, I'm very happy to see that more than 200 learners play this game, take risk, try different strategies, because at the end, as I mentioned, this is a simulation game, but it's a learning tool. It's just a way for you to apply the concept that you have been learned across the MicroMaster and apply to a kind of real company that simulate some of the complexity of the real companies. So this is, for me, the best learning thing for you guys. So congratulations to everyone that play the game, and especially for those who score. So in one word, I want to ask you, because we want to plot this as a cloud, what was your main takeaway after playing the Fresh Connection? Let's see your main takeaway. Most of you have been playing the Fresh Connection, the 4 rounds. So let us know which is your main takeaway. And we are going to plot the results as a cloud. Perfect. So while you are voting, let me share with you different strategies from the top players. So we have played this. I like to bring this to you guys because one of the takeaways of this game is that there is not a unique strategy that you need to have to follow in order to improve your results. You can follow different strategies. For instance, here is the example of one player number 1. He focused on efficiency. What does this mean? This means that he has a strong focus on reduced costs across the supply chain. So we can have a look at the level of stock components, the level of stock products, and the availability of components that this player has across the course. We have a player number 2. He focused, or she focused, more on service level. That means that try to provide a high service level to the customer in order to ensure that they are satisfying their expectations. So we have that the level of product, the level of stock products, final product, is above the average. We also can see here the availability of components. They have almost 100%. It's a 99.7%. So they are really, their strategy is much more focused on providing the best service level to their customer. And we can also find players that their score are really high, around 6%, 7%, that follow a balanced strategy. That means that they have kind of this trade-off in between, try to reduce costs, but also provide a high level service level. So these are 3 different approaches, completely different, more focused on reduced costs, more focused on service level, or more focused on this balanced strategy. All of these strategies works. And with all of these strategies, they got very good results. So let's have a look now to your main takeaway, coordination. Yes, I fully agree with that. One of the main takeaways of this game is coordination. Definitely, we need to coordinate the 4 roles that we have in the game. We have the role of the purchase role, the sales role, the supply chain management role, and the operations role. One thing that typically happens is when we review the purchase role, we try to do our best in the purchase role. When we go through the sales, we try to do our best in the sales role. But at the end, we need to coordinate the 4 roles, and we need to align our strategy through the 4 roles. So coordination in between the 4 roles is one of the main takeaways of this game. You have the privilege that is a pro and con. You have the privilege that you have playing the game by yourself. So it's just a way to coordinate with yourself, which in certain ways is typically easier than to coordinate with your mates. So in this sense, the cons to play the game by yourself is that you need to go through the 4 roles and review all of the reports and all of the information. So let's say that it's more time consuming. However, you better understand each role, and once you realize that your decisions are having impact in the results, but also has impact in other areas of the supply chain, then you realize that you need to coordinate the 4 roles in the place. So coordination, definitely. Strategy, yes. The second lesson learned here is that the strategy needs to be aligned. So as I mentioned, you can follow different strategies. You can more focus on reduce cost and efficiency. You can focus more on the customer service level or on a balanced strategy. But the most important thing is once you decide the strategy you want to follow, you should be consistent across the 4 roles applying the same strategy. So strategy should be aligned, I think, is one of the main takeaways that you have pointed there. And as I mentioned, different strategies work, but you should be aligned with the supply chain strategy and your company's strategy. This is also very important. Alignment between departments, something that happens in all of the companies, something that happens in all of the organizations. Here at CTL, we have different groups, different teams, and we need also to coordinate, and we have our CTL goals, and all of us need to look into these goals in order to align our own goals with the center, for instance.
Just to follow up on Ava's point there, we had a learner in the last run of SC4x, not in this one, who was a pretty high-level person at a pretty famous company, at least I think worldwide famous, certainly in North America. And he said exactly what Ava just said. Even though, you know, he works sort of in the real world all the time, he felt the Fresh Connection was a great way to experience the interconnections between different functional areas, and where sometimes they want different things and you have to figure out how to reconcile those different goals to make the whole supply chain work. You know, he saw what he was doing every day in practice at night when he went home and played the game. Neat example.
Yes, definitely. So the game is all about translating a strategy into action across all functions, as we mentioned. Another takeaway is each decision represents a trade-off in between cost and service level. So this trade-off that in SC1x, mainly we are discussing about the trade-off between cost and service level, trade-off in transportation, trade-off with inventory management. So these trade-offs are in the game. In every single decision you need to make, you need to have this trade-off at the end. So this is I think for a good learn of how to manage these trade-offs between for decision-making in supply chains. Also, a good way to illustrate how the different elements of the supply chain impact the performance of the company. So at some point, I agree, and I receive sometimes this comment is kind of a black box, because you are making decisions in the different areas, and at the end, you only have the impact on the profit of the company. And sometimes the decision you make has not the impact that you were expecting. So you need to go through, and that's why I always encourage you to take risk and to try different strategies, and to also make different kind of decisions and try to see the impact that these have. As I mentioned, it's just a learning tool. It's a way to learn and apply the different concepts that you have learned through the MicroMaster. So yeah, then great results in SC4x. I'm always very positive surprised about your results. As I mentioned, you need to do extra amount of work because you are working individually, and you need to review the 4 roles and review all of the reports. And there is a lot of information provided through the game. However, this help you to better understand each role. And once you start to playing and make decisions in each of that, you realize immediately that you need this coordination and this alignment. And you realize also that you need to have this strategy, align each of the decisions in each function with this strategy. So I think there are a lot of takeaways here. You already also highlight the trade-offs. Yes. What else? Impact and variables. Variables, yes, there are many different variables and a lot of information provided through the game. But this is the reality. When you are going to be working in one department, you are going to, for some companies, you are going to have access to a lot of KPIs, to a lot of information, and you need to make decisions based on this information that you have in your company. So yeah, I think these are the main takeaways for the Fresh Connection. Congratulations again to everyone who played the game. I know it's an extra work for you guys. It's time consuming and you need to review a lot of reports, but I also think that you can learn through this experience. So congratulations again. I'm happy to see your results. It was great.
Great job, team.
Yes. So regarding the MicroMaster wrap up, so we are closing, almost about to close tomorrow. You need to be ready for the final exam, one more week, and then you are going to be all set with the SC4x course. You are now part of a big community, a huge community of SCX learners. Yeah, more than 250,000 of learners already took at least one SCX courses. These learners, as you know now, are from all over the world. And the thing that I want to highlight here is that today we have 1,277 credentials holders, people that completed the 5 courses plus the CFX and earned the MicroMaster credential. So I want to show you a bit of the profile of these MicroMaster holders. So still we have more male than female. Only 16% of our MicroMaster holders are female. So go, ladies, go and take the MicroMaster. We need more of you here. In terms of education, most of our learners, most of them has a master degree or a bachelor degree. We have also high schoolers. We have also people with associate certificates and degrees, but mainly almost more than 80% of our learners already have a master or a bachelor degree. By age, most of our learners are very young, I would say. They are between 20 and 35 years old. And in terms of countries, the most represented countries are USA, United States, with 26%, in between 25 and 30% of our total of our learners, 6% from India, 3% from Spain, and another 3% from Mexico, Brazil, Canada, Germany, and China. So, as you know, more than 180 countries represented. Yeah. In terms of the MicroMaster Flow and where we are and where I expect you to be, I know that most of you, this is your last course. That means that you already complete all of our conceptual models, SC0x, SC1, SC2x, SC3, and SC4, now almost about to complete that, and then ready for the final comprehensive exam. And this is what I want to focus now, to give you some tips and recommendations and some updates about the upcoming comprehensive final exam. Those that have already completed the 5 courses, I really encourage you to make the effort, prepare and take the CFX. This is a way for you guys to earn the MicroMaster credential. And you have spent a lot of hours in the program. I know how much effort you need to put in order to complete and pass each of these SCX courses. I did the statistics of our MicroMaster holders, and I can tell you that on average, of MicroMaster holders spend in between 15 to 18 months with us in order to complete and pass the 5 SCX courses plus the CFX. So for most of you, you are almost there. This is just the last stretch, the last push that you need to do, and it is your final that start tomorrow. You have 1 week in order to complete the final of the SC4x and then the CFX. So let's go through the CFX and give you some details about the upcoming comprehensive final exam. The first thing I want to share with you, why we are doing a comprehensive final exam in the MicroMaster program. As you know, this is the final requirement. After completing the 5 courses, we ask you to take a comprehensive proctor and final exam. We are doing that in order to ensure the value of the credential. We really want to provide value to this credential in both ways. We want the industry recognizing the credential by itself. And for us, the best way to do that is when a company hire a MicroMaster holders, when a company posts a position and said, this position is for MicroMaster holders. We are starting to see more and more companies that are asking and looking for MicroMaster holders in supply chain management to hire them. So for us, this industry recognition is something that definitely has a lot of value. And we want to bring this value to the credential. We want to be sure that the people that hold this credential have this knowledge in order to apply for a job in supply chain management. Another thing is this is a pathway for credit to a master degree here at MIT. And also, now there are more than 20 universities recognizing the MicroMaster in supply chain management as a pathway for credit. This means that once you have the MicroMaster certificate, you can apply to a master degree in different universities. This is another thing very important for us, to ensure the value of the credential. This is why we are doing this final and proctor exam. This is why you need to verify again your identity before taking the proctor exam. And also, you need to demonstrate that you have the basic knowledge in all of the main topics we review through the program. When is the next comprehensive final exam? It's going to happen in February, from February 22nd to February 25th, 2019. Again, and as the previous CFX is going to be open, the exam will be open during 72 hours. Once we open the exam, it's going to be a time exam. That means that the CFX includes two different exams. Exam 1, 2 hours. Then you can take a break and then take exam 2, another 2 hours. And we split in 2 hours exam because it's a proctor exam. That means that during the session, while you are taking the proctor exam, you cannot leave the room. You cannot, you just need to be in front of your computer, in front of the camera during the 2 hours, or at least during the time you are taking the exam. That's why we split in 2 different exams, 2 hours per exam, so you can take a break in between one and the other to go to drink or to go to the bathroom or whatever you need as a break in order to come back and take the second exam. Who can take the CFX? The CFX is only for those learners who have completed and passed as a verified learner the 5 SCX courses. These are the only learners who qualify to take the CFX. Once you enroll, you are part of the CFX. Let's say that once you are eligible to take the CFX because you already passed the 5 courses, then you need to be a verified learner in the CFX course in order to take the final exam.
I'll just add on to this. As you all know, we had our week 8 graded assignment was proctored. For some people, that was no problem, but for some people, I know it was a real headache. We went back and forth over email. But the reason we did that is so that you have all of those headaches figured out before you take the CFX. So any trouble that happened with proctoring during our course really won't affect your grade much, but hopefully it allowed us to diagnose whatever technical problems that exist for you when trying to do proctoring, because when you take the CFX, it will be fully proctored.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, and we are doing this in SC4x just to be sure that everyone is prepared for the comprehensive final exam. Yeah, which is mandatory. Should I need to download the software? Yes, you need to download that software, and you will find all the details in the CFX. Once we open the CFX instance, you will have access and you can download a practice proctor test that I really encourage you to download and to take it. There are 2 main objectives behind offering you a practice proctor test. Is to you have again the opportunity to test the software by itself and go through the whole process. That means the ID verification, scan the room, and meet all of the rules and requirements, one theme. And second theme, in this practice proctor test, we are providing you some actual exam problems. So we are providing some of the problems that we already use for our previous CFX. So you will have, it's not going to be exactly as a CFX in terms of content, but at least you have some representative problems that you can go through in a time manner with the time limitation and with the proctor software running that will help you to reproduce exactly the environment you are going to have during the actual CFX. So we did for these two purposes, for you to be ready again to go through the whole proctoring software process, and second, to be familiar with some of the problems that we use for previous CFX runs. You also have some tutorials videos in this upcoming run of the CFX, and we also, after you take the proctor test, you can have access to a video problem solving. So the team here, we prepare and we solve some problems reproducing also the proctoring environment. So what we did is just went through the problem as a learner and tried to help you and give you some tips about how we will deal solving these proctoring exam problems. So you will have access to all of this material through the next round of the comprehensive final exam. I have a question for you guys. Are you planning to take the next CFX in February 2019? The answer can be yes, for sure. No, I'm not planning to do this run. I'm planning to do later, or maybe, I'm sure. So yes, please go through that. In the meantime, and since you are almost there and almost are at the end of this long journey, I want to really encourage you to join our MicroMaster portal. This is the MicroMasters at mit.edu/SCM. This is the space we have created to build this community of SCX learners. So we know that while you are taking a course, you have the discussion forum to interact with your peers and with the staff. Once you finish a course, you do not have this space. So the MicroMaster portal is intending to be this space for the community that you can go and you can read SCM articles, you can post any news or thing that is related to supply chain management that you consider relevant. You can start a discussion, you can be part of a thread, you can answer, you can add your comments. We are also using the MicroMaster portal as a space to post any job opening in supply chain management related to MicroMasters credential holders. So definitely we are also trying to create cohorts and groups classified by country or by company or by different criteria. So really encourage you to join the MicroMaster portal. We also use the MicroMaster portal a lot to communicate with you guys related to the CFX. So in terms of the CFX enrollment, as I mentioned, since the CFX is only for those learners who already pass and complete the 5 SCX courses, the SCX team will manually enroll all eligible learners. Once we issue the SC4x certificates, you will receive your certificates, you will know your final score in SC4x, and then around early to mid-January, we will proceed, the SCX team, to manually enroll all of our eligible. So once you are enrolled there, it is your decision to decide if you want to take the CFX this February. If this is the case, you need to take an action by yourself, that is to become a verified learner in this round of the CFX. If you, for any reason, are not prepared or do not have time or decide not to take the CFX in February, then you do not need to take any action. We are just going to enroll all people that are eligible to be sure that you have the opportunity to take this round of the CFX. It is your decision to take it or not. And if the decision is yes, I want to take, you need to become a verified learner as in any other SCX course, you need to pay the $200. And one very important thing, you need to be ID verified. And your ID verification need to be up to date. Anyone that the ID verification expire during the time that the CFX is open is not allowed to take the CFX. So there are two steps. Pay the $200 and become a verified learner. Second thing, be sure that your ID verification is up to date. Because if not, and this happened, unfortunately, in the last 2 runs of the CFX, I always have 1, 2, or 3 learners that their ID verification expired and they couldn't take the CFX. So please be aware about that.
And please remember, it takes a while to ID verify. Sometimes it can take a few days for that process to complete.
So you need to be sure that before we open the CFX, everyone is ID verified. Because what happened in the last, and you made a great point, the last run, the student point us this during the Saturday or Sunday, and edX was not able because they need at least 2 to 3 business days to go through the ID verification process. So once the exam open, there is no possibility to be ID verified. So you need to be sure that before February 22nd, you have your ID verification up to date.
One thing to add too, if you become part of the group that's going to do the CFX with us in February, we'll be communicating with you about all these things again. So don't feel like you have to memorize everything we just said, but you know, it's all important. We'll talk about it now and we'll continue to talk about it. The important thing is just to pay attention every time we do, and we'll all get through it.
And verification closes February 7th. So this is the very last day to become a verified learner in the next CFX. And as Dave mentioned, we will communicate with you directly. Once we issue the certificates in SC4x, we will reach to all of our learners that are eligible for the CFX to communicate and to share with you guys all of the details about the upcoming CFX. I will be also happy to do a specific live event talking just about the CFX once we have all of the eligible people. For all of the learners who are eligible for this run of the CFX, we will have a specific live event sharing with you all of the details and open to answer your questions as always. Okay, and what's next? So after completing the program, and after, if hopefully you are going to take the CFX and complete and pass that, what's next? Individual professional career development. This is one of the things. As you know, this MicroMaster credential in supply chain management is a standalone certificate, and I'm super happy and proud of my learners when I receive an email and say, hey, Eva, I just got the job of my dreams because of the MicroMaster, and say, yes, that's great. So yeah, career development, and as I mentioned, and please feel free to reach to us even when you complete your MicroMaster program and share with us your experience. We are always happy to share with others this experience, because I think this is the best way. The best way, and the best thing of this program are you guys, are the learners that we have. We are learning every single day from you. We are also very happy to receive your feedback. These are making us better. Very happy to receive these quotes when you have a new job, or when you are applying the concept you learn in your current job or whatever. It is also a pathway to a MIT Supply Chain Management Master degree. So the applications are currently open here at MIT if you are thinking or considering to apply to the blended master degree in supply chain management. Application deadline is March 28th. 2019. Oh my goodness, I make a mistake there. So the application deadline is March 28, 2019. That means that after closing the CFX, we will run the certificates. Typically, these take in between 2 to 3 weeks. And once you have your results, if you complete the 5 courses plus the CFX and you earn the MicroMaster credential, you can apply to the master degree at MIT. So for those that are considering that, keep in mind that end of March is the last day to submit your application for the master degree here at MIT. And as I mentioned before, in addition to MIT, the Malaysia Institute for Supply Chain Innovation, the MISI Center, and Zaragoza Logistics Center, these are both centers as part of our MIT network scale. They are also offering a blended master degree program or an accelerated master degree program. That means that once you have your credential in supply chain management, you can apply to this accelerated way to earn a master degree in Malaysia or a blended master degree in Zaragoza. In addition to that, there are now around 19, exactly there are 19 and one more coming, almost 20 universities recognizing the MicroMaster credential as a pathway for credit. That means that you can use your credential to apply to Curtin University in Australia, Queensland University also in Australia, Galileo University in Guatemala, Doane University in the USA, Curtin University, RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology, Purdue University, Harvard Extension School. There are more and more universities that are recognizing the MicroMaster holders. If you are interested in applying to any of these pathway for credit, go to our website. Through our website, you will find the link to all of these universities and you can learn more about their application process and these things. Keep in touch with us. We really love to receive your feedback, your comments. As I mentioned, all feedback is very welcome. We are learning a lot about your feedback, your constructive feedback. So please feel free to share this with us. We really appreciate that. There are different ways to keep in touch with us. The MicroMaster portal is one of these ways, and I really encourage you to join the MicroMaster portal. You are also welcome to be a community teaching assistant with us. We have a great and amazing group of community teaching assistants. We also have a strong relationship with the weekly meetings with the course leads. The course leads are doing also a great job keeping the CTAs engaged, motivated, and we know that these community teaching assistants are the bridge in between us and our learners. So if you are interested, send us a note to us and we are happy to consider your application. You can also be an ambassador. Those that already completed the credential, we have more than 100 ambassadors. Arthur Grau is leading this project. So if you are interested in being an ambassador, do not hesitate to send a note to Arthur through the MicroMaster SCM email account or through the MicroMaster portal. And bootcamps, we are also always continuously thinking about new products, new ways to engage, new ways also to provide a blended education, new ways to combine online education with on-campus education. So bootcamp is one of our offers. We are offering the next bootcamp in 2019, July, at the very end of July. The bootcamp will start on Sunday, July 28th, and will go through August 2nd. It's a Friday. So it's going to be 6 very intense days at MIT. The idea of that is just to provide this blended education in supply chain management. It's just to provide an in-campus experience, a lot of interaction with your peers, with the staff, through team projects, through games, through case discussion of case studies. So it's designed to have a very intense and interactive experience in supply chain management on campus for 6 days. And this is designed specifically for MicroMaster learners. So there is a prerequisite. So at least you need to complete and pass as a verified learner SC4x. But if you have already completed more than one course, this is totally fine. And if you are interested in having this experience, you can apply to this bootcamp. We will reach to you soon and provide the details. Probably by the next week, you will receive some information about the bootcamp. And if you are interested, send a note directly to me or to Dave, and we will deal with that.
Two things to add there. The big thanks to our CTAs, and I'd encourage you all to, if you have a chance in the forum, thank them yourself, because I see in the forums how helpful they are to all our learners. So thank you, CTAs. You guys are great, and learners watching, maybe thank them too if you have time. I know they would love it. And please come to the boot camp as a course lead. It's very fun to spend some time with the learners who otherwise we only interact with online. So definitely. We're all up here on the 3rd floor of the E40 building here in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and we just have a great week together talking about supply chain all day.
And the best thing, as I always, are you guys, are our learners, and the community of learners that is spontaneously being creating. I need to say kudos to Arthur, because Arthur Grau, our community manager, he's doing a great job trying to allowing and facilitating these groups, but this is all about you guys. So feel free to reach to your peers in Singapore, Hong Kong, Chicago, Lima, in any of these countries. Go through the MicroMaster portal, start a study group or a meetup group, or just to be in touch with this great community of learners. Any questions?
We have some questions, and just a quick update. 91% are planning to take the upcoming CFX. So
excellent,
we have some CFX
excellent,
takers.
Great, good. I really encourage you to do that.
So we'll start. There's quite a few questions. Thank you all so much for all your questions. And we'll look at some of the top voted ones first to make sure we get to them.
Yes.
So here's a specific question about proctored exams.
Yeah.
I'll leave that. Ava, I don't know if, one way I think to answer that is to say that we really want to share with you one set of instructions for everyone to draw from. So as you go into the CFX, you will have very specific instructions, and you'll have a help email line there. But the rules are essentially the same as the 4x proctored exam.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you think to add to that?
Yeah, so the specific question is if in the proctor exam you can use notes or the key concept document, plain paper for calculation. So yes, as Dave mentioned, we are going to provide all of the details for the specific CFX rank. In general, yes, you can use the key concept document, but only the key concept document that we are providing through the exam. So you don't need to bring or open any other document, any other Word or PDF or nothing, just the key concept document that we are providing through the exam specifically, no more than that. And typically we allow you to have one blank sheet of paper, only one, and you need to scan through the camera. But we will provide all of the details, and I will conduct a specific live event just about the CFX, so you can ask any question about the rules. And you will have specific instructions, FAQs, so every single thing is very detailed. This is going to be our 4th rank of the CFX, so I think that now we have a good material or starting point to answer most of your questions. What else?
Let's go to,
Are there any universities?
So the next most popular one is there a minimum grade for the exam to apply for the blended program?
Okay, so this is a great question. One of the criteria to be admitted in the blended program, and one of the things that the committee is looking into, is your performance across the whole MicroMaster. So grades are taken into consideration. The highest, the best. So it's difficult to provide just a range. I can tell you that it's very competitive. We have very good candidates, and good candidate or excellent candidates are those above 90%, but it's not the only thing we are also looking into. We are looking into a whole profile. So we look into the grades through the performance through the MicroMaster program, but we also look into the video, the capstone proposal, the essay, the letter of recommendation. So there are more than that. So we look to the whole profile of the learner. So I don't want to discourage any of you to apply. If you want to apply, apply and provide all of the information that is required. And the committee, as I mentioned, have a look into all of the things. Highest grade helps, yes. Definitely helps, but it's not the only criteria we are taking into consideration. Regarding the blended, you are going to receive a specific life events and a specific. So if you are interested in applying to the blended, do not hesitate to contact us, and you will be in the loop. And definitely, we are going to provide life events and all of the details about the application. So if this is your priority or you are considering, let us know. Yes, you will receive a specific information about the blended. What else?
Next most popular, will we have a chance to participate in future Fresh Connection games, even if not a part of future SC4x courses?
This is a great question. No, we are only providing the Fresh Connection currently through the SC4x course. So it's part of that, and it's attached to the a specific rank currently of SC4x. So a part of the SCX courses, no. On campus, we are running that. For on-campus experience, we are also running that, but not available at any time for anyone.
And they might be playing if they come to boot camp?
Yes, for the boot camp, yes, we are planning to do that, because another important learning experience playing the Fresh Connection is to play the game in teams. So this is the part we want to provide on campus, and we are considering for the boot camp to provide this team interaction through the Fresh Connection. Yeah.
Think about that. That's a whole neat way to play. Another neat way to play it, where the person across from the table across the table from you represents one of those functions, whereas you covered them all before. You're working with real people representing each of the different functions.
Yeah. I think we are running out of time.
We are. Let me jump to
the last question, and then we will try to answer through the Slido chat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
How can we apply to be a CTA? I'm going to pick that one because I love CTAs.
Yes, perfect. This is a great one. Different ways. In the last newsletter, typically we send a link with a form. You can apply through the form. You can just send an email to the course lead, to myself, and say, hey, I want to be a CTA, and I will forward this to the corresponding course lead. Can reach directly through email or through the form that typically in the last newsletter of the course, we always include if you are interested in applying. So, yeah.
One more just to give you, I know we're running out. Some of us got an email from the Fresh Connection about another competition. Is that true?
Yes, another competition is coming. Yes, every single year they are organizing this competition. So, yeah. This is coming. You might be selected for that, so stay tuned.
That's great. Yeah? That could be a sign that you had a really good score.
That's great, and congratulations if you already received this email. Yeah.
How many people do you think will enroll in the blended in the upcoming?
There is the maximum number of candidates that we can admit for the blended are 40 students. So, yeah.
Okay. Gosh, some of these, we won't get to all of them, so please stay in touch. There was one I thought was interesting here. Will MIT offer online master's degrees in supply chain management anytime soon?
Yeah, we are offering a blended master degree. So the program we design is the MicroMaster 100%. And this is a pathway to a blended master degree on campus. So far, what we are doing is providing this blended education that combines the 100% online experience through the MicroMaster plus a 5 intense month on campus to earn a master degree. This is our current offer. In the short term, we are not considering to offer a 100% online master degree in the short term. In the medium long term, we are always revisiting and reviewing our portfolio of education portfolio here at CTL. But what I can tell you that in the short term, we are not planning to offer this 100% master online degree. The product we are now offering, I need to tell you that the experience with the first blended cohort was excellent. The level of motivation, the level of education, the results was really, really good. And we are looking forward to receive the new cohort this January. We are now with the process of application process is open now to admit the new cohort for 2020. So, yeah.
Ava, thank you so much for your time. Learners, thank you so much for your time and for going on this journey with us. Your final opens up tomorrow. Have fun. Try not to be too stressed. And we'll see you in the CFX.
Yeah, best of luck. Best of luck tomorrow. Last push to complete the program. Thank you so much. Bye.